Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Wednesday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini, back here on a Wednesday. Got some more news to talk about. Not all of it good, unfortunately. Some news came out today about a certain Pittsburgh Penguins player that was very, very scary. Also, Pittsburgh Pirates, as bad as ever on multiple fronts. And then, of course, we'll get into some draft talk here as we are now 8 days away, officially 1 week out tomorrow night from the first round of the NFL draft. Exciting times in the football world. The draft sort of Christmas for the NFL offseason. If you're new here, 5 of you in here right now. If you're new here, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you will not miss when I am live like this or post other content. Also, feel free to like and share this stream and comment in the live chat. Get some constant customers in here who like commenting there and asking me questions, making their feelings known. Had a Ravens fan in here last night, but very respectful interaction with him, little jabs back and forth, but nothing too crazy. So going to get started here in a moment here. Of course, the big story in the Pittsburgh sports world today. Some scary news. Kris Letang having heart surgery recently. He is going to miss the final game of the regular season tomorrow night against the Washington Capitals. Also, the Pirates going to get into how their game went last night. Just an absolute dumpster fire. Going to probably vent a little bit on that. The Pirates also addressing the Bucco Bricks that were once outside of PNC Park. They released another statement from President Travis Williams. And we're going to talk about the Steelers having their final pre-draft visits. Pre-draft visits, the deadline for those is today. So no more visits beyond tomorrow. Steelers using up all 30 of their visits, plus 4 locals as well. And then we'll hit on some loose storylines near the end of the show. But I'm going to get started now with some Kris Letang news. Yeah, us Penguins fans, it was shocking and concerning news when we found out about it this morning. Letang will miss the final game of the year after undergoing successful, thankfully, heart surgery. Statement here from the Pens themselves, released this morning. Pittsburgh Penguins defenseman Kris Letang underwent successful surgery. It was announced today by President of Hockey Operations and General Manager Kyle Dubas. Letang had successful closure of, I'm going to try to pronounce this as best I can, paten foramen ovale. Paten foramen ovale, which is a small hole in the heart. The procedure was performed at UPMC Presbyterian Hospital by interventional cardiologist Dr. Conrad Smith. The expected recovery time is 4 to 6 weeks. So Letang going under the knife, getting a hole in his heart all patched up recently. Penguins head coach Mike Sullivan also spoke on the surgery after today's practice, saying Letang has been dealing with bumps and bruises not related to this surgery, just the usual grind of the season. And he and the organization felt that this was an appropriate time to get the procedure done. Sullivan, too, said that the surgery was a success and that Letang was at the UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex where the Pens practiced this morning, and he was in very good spirits. So that is good to hear. And hearing all of this, I think we all can agree that it is a scary thing to talk about. From the sounds of it, this paten foramen ovale was a contributor in the strokes that Letang has had throughout his career. That isn't any sort of report there. That's just, whatever little, medical knowledge I have on that. But hopefully those worries and all of that, those health risks and issues are now behind Letang. However, I don't want to bring this up. I saw people on Twitter this morning, like as soon as this news came down, saying, oh, Letang should do that. Letang should do this. And I hate when people do that. Like, it's Letang's body, his life, his decision. But the question is still there, that is this something that could influence Letang to maybe hang up the skates? He will be 38 years old next year. He already accomplished so much in his career, 3 Stanley Cup championships, multiple All-Star nods, and he won the Masterton Award for Perseverance, I believe, just a couple of years ago. And he's already been through a lot more than the normal hockey player in his career, including 3 concussions, 2 strokes that we mentioned, and neck surgery, among other various injuries on that list. I'm sure Letang will have some difficult conversations with his doctor, with his teammates, with his family, and probably the big one himself, of if he wants to continue doing this. But my opinion, I don't think he's done. Some people are out there writing him off already. I don't think that that's going to be the case. Letang, all of the mentions of this surgery from those in the organization sounds like Letang will be back healthy. next season, and that doesn't shock me. Letang is a hell of a hockey player, and he's a hell of a warrior. So he's played over 1,100 games in his career despite his health concerns. And besides, it depends if Kyle Dubas's promise turns out to be a reality of this core, this team making one last run at a Stanley Cup in the twilight of Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and Kris Letang's careers. He isn't going to let this be the reason that he goes out. He's going to want to go out on his own terms. And if hopefully the Pens do make a run at a Stanley Cup again within the next couple of years, he's going to want to make sure that it is once again with the core three and not just two members of that core three. So, with all that, prayers to Letang and hope that all goes well. It's a 4 to 6 week recovery time, but he can take all the time that he wants with the Pens missing playoffs. And another thing that, really makes me feel good and encouraged that he could come back is that, from the sounds of it, what Mike Sullivan said is that this sounds like something that Letang has known about for a little while now and something that he was still playing through. So who knows? Maybe this is, something where he comes back better than ever. Letang is already, still, even with this hole in his heart that he was still one of the most conditioned players, not only on the Penguins, but in the National Hockey League, in my opinion. So hopefully all goes well in his rehab, and let's just continue to pray for him that things go well. And here's to hopefully seeing the best version of Kris Letang on the other side. Also going to just here hit on some other things related to the Penguins right now. I was going to save this for the end of the show, but I'll get it out of the way now. Obviously, Letang wasn't on the ice for practice today. Also, Kevin Hayes did not practice today. He was off the ice day-to-day with an undisclosed injury, so probably not going to play in the season finale as well. Penguins recalled defenseman Philip Kral yesterday. I assume that was in reaction of Letang getting this surgery, so we'll have to wait and see if another roster move could be coming with Hayes not on the ice. Also, just some minor league news. I think this is all the Penguins news that I have here, is that Ville Koivunen, forward for the Pens, who's up on the main team right now, he was named to the AHL All-Rookie team for the 2024-25 season. No doubt, no surprise there that he made that team, and hopefully he will be making the NHL All-Rookie team last year, as he just, in this short sample size here to end the year, has shown that he's ready for the NHL, and he seems to be hitting it off on, whatever line he's on with Sidney Crosby or Evgeny Malkin. Pens also signed the Wilkes-Barre Baby Pens, I should say. They're getting ready for playoffs. They have signed goaltender from Bowling Green, Christian Stover, to an amateur tryout contract. Stover with Bowling Green went 12-3-3 with a .249 save percentage and a 1.76 goals against average. So the Penguins, hopefully with a strong goaltenders in the farm right now, good strong goaltending pool with Yoel Blomqvist and Sergei Murashov. Hopefully that this is another good prospect that will play well down in Wilkes-Barre or the ACHL, wherever he begins his journey. And also, this isn't Penguins related, but still, though, Penguins legend. We all love him. Marc-Andre Fleury may have taken place in his final NHL regular season game last night, and it wasn't him starting. The Wild were playing the Anaheim Ducks in Minnesota last night. The game was tied 2-2, went to overtime. And shout out to another former Penguins goalie, actually. He just never played with the NHL squad. Philip Gustafson went to the bench and his coaches, and it was his idea for them to put Fleury in for the overtime, and Flower went in cold, gave a vintage poke check on a breakaway, also had a two-pad stack save. Puck hit the post. He rubbed it up and down one last time, and then the Wild went the underway and scored to get Fleury regular season win number 575 in what was his last regular season game. Ducks and Wild fans, Ducks players, Wild players, and fans all saluted Fleury after the game, handshaking Flower. But just if that was the last we've seen of Fleury in a National Hockey League game, then what better way to go out than a thrilling OT victory? The Stars are in the playoffs, but Gustafson, I think, is going to be their starter there. So kudos to Fleury. Shout out to him. Congrats on an absolutely phenomenal career, and just couldn't be more proud of you here. Me speaking on behalf of all Penguins fans, and can't wait to see you back here in Pittsburgh after your career for anniversaries and all that. Just always number one in our hearts. Mercy, Marc-Andre. Going to switch things over here now to some Buccos talk, and you saw it in the title of this video. The Pirates are as embarrassing as ever right now. Yeah, I don't even know where to begin with this, honestly. Last night, the not-so-battling Buccos fell to the Washington Nationals in Game 2 of their series, 3-0, and that was probably the most embarrassing loss of the year so far. I'm not even joking. Let me start off by saying, on behalf of the Pirates organization and the fans, sorry to Mitch Keller for that absolute abysmal effort behind him last night. Now, he pitched 6 full innings, gave up 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, and struck out 3. And I felt that he pitched better than what that stat line shows, and definitely gave his team a chance to be in that game and probably win it. Why I say that, and why I think he wasn't anywhere close to being the reason that the Pirates lost. Shout out to Noah Hiles, I believe of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, for bringing this up. The Pirates haven't scored a run with Mitch Keller on the mound since a solo home run by Brian Reynolds in the 3rd inning of the home opener on April 4th. Like, I don't know, maybe the voodoo curse of the Pirates being so bad offensively when Paul Skeens is on the mound maybe got shifted over to Mitch Keller now, but that is just very, very bad, and I feel sorry for Mitch. I also feel sorry for the bullpen as well. Over the last 10 games, they've only given up 26 hits and 11 earned runs in 35 and a third innings pitched. They aren't the problem either. Not scoring any runs against the Nationals at all is bad enough, but when you do it in the fashion that they did, it just makes it so much worse to watch. The most glaring example of baseball fundamental incompetence was in the 5th inning last night with no outs, and by some miracle of God up above, Jack Sawinski and Tommy Pham both were on base at the same time. Now, in that scenario, runners at first and second, 1 out in the 5th inning, Adam Frazier comes up to bat, and instead of having him bunt each runner up a base with arguably your best hitter, at least according to batting average, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa coming up behind you, Frazier flew out lazily to shallow left field. Very next pitch, double play ball out of the inning, the Nationals go. And that was, one of those points when you're watching Pirates games, you can point out that one moment where it's like, yep, that's the ball game. I might as well shut this off and go spend my time for the night more wisely. So just a simple small ball situation completely botched by this manager and the team, and it would eventually turn out that Suwinski was the only Pirate player to reach second base in last night's ball game. I'm going to say that again. Suwinski, the only Pirates player to reach second base last night. Speaking of Suwinski, I'm going to keep talking about you here, Jack. He was responsible for 2 of the Pirates' 4 hits last night. Another game in which they don't even break 5 hits. The top 4 batters in the lineup, which was leadoff guy O'Neill Cruz, Brian Reynolds in the 2-hole, Key Brian Hayes third, and the hitmaster, the new hitmaster, not the batting coach, hitmaster Matt Haig, and Manuel Valdez, who all Pirates fans are just buying up his jerseys as soon as they hit the rack right now, batting 148. He bat in the 4-hole. Those 4 collectively, Cruz, Reynolds, Hayes, and Valdez, went 0 for 16, and the first 2 in that lineup, who should be your best 2 hitters in the lineup night in, night out, in Cruz and Reynolds together, had 5 strikeouts. So, yeah, just complete and total asleep in the batter's box with the bats. Oh, and the Nationals should have easily scored more runs than they did in the 9th inning alone after back-to-back pop-up flyouts into, the outfield, shallowly dropped in for hits, because who the hell knows? Nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody knows how to call for a ball or hold on to the damn thing. Shout out Tommy Pham, who dropped a fly ball as well. So, to recap, offense was so bad that some of them probably had better chances of getting to figurative second base, if you know what I mean, than the actual physical second base on the baseball field. T-ball coach could have handled most of those situations better than Derek Shelton did, and the defense couldn't catch a cold if someone walked up and coughed directly in their face. Let me know if I covered all of the bases there, except for second, because they didn't even get there. That performance last night is the perfect example of why only a whopping 8,340 fans were in attendance last night, why this team is still firmly entrenched as the laughing stock in the NL Central and the MLB as a whole, and why they are getting so much attention right now from these big writers, baseball writers, and reporters like Ken Rosenthal a couple of days ago, and like Jeff Passan yesterday, for having this once in a generational pitcher in Paul Skeens, and they go out and they do stuff like that, refusing to be competitive. And Passan, just listen here for a second. He was on the John Boy Baseball Today podcast yesterday. I want to read you what he said on that podcast about the Pirates. I sort of trimmed up his quote here to sort of hit the main points, but Passan said, the Pirates this offseason spent $19.95 million on free agent signings when they had a generational pitcher, a guy who I think, if he stays healthy, is going to be a Hall of Famer in Paul Skeens. And those Pirates fans deserve more than they have right now. You can't look at this as a one-year thing. You have to look at this down the road. And if we have Paul Skeens right now, we aren't doing absolutely everything we can to build around him and to build something that's worthy of the pitcher that he is. The Pirates don't have to be who they are right now. I went and looked yesterday on Forbes at its baseball valuations to see what's the Pirates' revenue last year. I believe it was $326 million. You know who else is in that area of like $5 million range of revenues? The Arizona Diamondbacks, whose payroll is $188 million. Kansas City Royals, whose payroll is $134 million. The Minnesota Twins, whose payroll is $147 million. The Brewers are in there. There are a couple of other teams in that bucket, all of whom have 9-figure payrolls. This right here, Passan, love you for saying this right here. There is zero reason, zero, that the Pirates need to operate how they operate. It's a choice, and it's a choice that it's insulting to fans. It's a choice that it's insulting to the game. It's a choice that's insulting to the players in that clubhouse who deserve better. Bravo, Jeff Passan. I'm going to end my rant on that quote right there because anything I say isn't going to be good as what he uttered right there. Now, maybe that message is the right message coming from the wrong guy sort of situation because Passan is sort of a big market favorer, and he was saying a couple of weeks ago how are you willing to sacrifice this age in which we have Shohei Ohtani and Paul Skeens? Are you willing to sacrifice 1 or 2 years in a lockout to get a salary cap? Which, Jeff, absolutely yes. Please do not open your mouth about that again. But otherwise, everything he said, A-okay with me, fantastic. I would say hopefully that changes for the better will be coming soon from this outrage from fans and the media alike, but unfortunately, it probably won't. At this point, even if Derek Shelton were to get fired on the spot right now before the Bucs take the field tonight, nothing's going to change because this horrid roster, everybody isn't with a new manager, which probably would be Donnie Kelly, the bench coach. They aren't going to all of a sudden have 9 of their 14 active players right now go from hitting below 200 or below to being, Barry Bonds in his prime here. Same thing goes for Ben Cherington, honestly, if he were to get fired right now, because someone isn't going to come in here and magically redo the offseason from hell over this past winter, in which we saw Anthony Santander go elsewhere when he should have been on the Bucs radar. When you had, I can't even remember, Pete Alonso was on the market. You could have made him an aggressive offer if you were serious about competitiveness. No, we had to watch us trade Luis Ortiz and 2 prospects for Spencer Horwitz, who we haven't even seen in a full Pirates uniform yet. And the what's left of Tommy Pham, who, hey, Tommy Pham's an asshole and every team needs an asshole. He's a veteran leader, Ben Cherington says. We got exactly what we wanted from him when he drops easy 5 balls and chase every slider down and out of the zone that I see thrown to him. So, sorry, nothing's going to change. The only real change will come when Bob Nutting is no longer in power. So, all Pirates fans out there, keep up the chants, keep up the protests, and keep up the pressure on everyone. This BS has to stop, and it will only stop with us fans doing these things because, say it with me, it's our team, not his. Spend nutting, win nutting, sell the team, Bob. Sorry about that. Had to get that out. Because things are just terrible right now. Speaking of another terrible situation, just let me hit on this right now. So the Bucs released another statement on the Bucco Bricks dilemma right now. Of course, those of you who don't know about it, Bucco Bricks, bricks laid out on the sidewalk outside PNC Park with messages dedicated to fans and family members of fans and whatnot with that, with messages, those who helped build the ballpark and have been a part of the fan base forever. Those got ripped out of the ground, sent off to some recycling facility in Reserve Township, and grinded into a pile of pebbles that you probably could see behind Travis Williams in my thumbnail. But now that's been, going on roughly about a week now. We had the whole Roberto Clemente right field wall saga as well, but the Pirates released their second statement on this Bucco Bricks scenario, on this Bucco Bricks dilemma. They said that they are offering fans who donated to the original Bucco Brick program that complimentary replicas of their bricks will be available for purchase, I do believe. Let me pull up. This is the actual release here. Says, by way of open letter to Pirates fans, Pirates President Travis Williams announced a program giving Pirates fans who donated to the original Bucco Brick program an opportunity to receive a complimentary commemorative replica of their brick. The team is offering the commemorative replica bricks, while plans for a new permanent display showcasing all the original messages are being finalized. Kind of would have avoided this whole scenario if you would have had a alternative finalized by now and gave the fans their original bricks back. Williams just continued stressing that this new Bucco Bricks display will be longer lasting for fans to enjoy. He said, quote, "I know how meaningful the messages and tributes are. We respect that. We appreciate that. We are and have always been absolutely committed to ensuring these special messages and tributes live on permanently at PNC Park." Just also put out the excuse saying this is the third time the Pirates had to replace the bricks due to cracking, wear and tear, and uneven surfaces that were safety hazards. So really just saying, hey, it's not the real thing, but here, have this probably cheaply made replica of the brick, because we all know they aren't going to spend money to make things right. They're going to give you some half-assed replica of the brick. Continue to say, oh, this awesome thing, which probably will be underwhelming and suck. Oh, this new thing here, it's going to have all your messages on it, and it's going to live on forever. That's coming here too. And, gave the poor excuse saying, oh, they were a safety hazard outside. So just more and more incompetence. Again, this situation should have been avoided by just simply having the common sense of saying, hey, we're taking these bricks out, and instead of spending money to go and recycle them at that recycling place, which, by the way, they got reimbursed with taxpayer dollars, instead of paying money to have these things destroyed, why not let's just simply, go outside PNC Park, have a couple of tents put up there, and say, hey, if you bought a Bucco brick, if one of those belongs to you, come down, say, Tuesday through Thursday, Friday through Saturday, come with proof that they're your bricks, pick them up, take them home. Could have been that simple. Could have been that easy. Same thing goes for the Clemente wall. You knew that fans, with as hot as they are right now with the garbage that you're putting out on the field, you know that they are going to take every single little detail and problem that you do, and they are going to blow that thing out of the water. Same thing goes for the Clemente wall. You could have left the patch up there and put like the sunny side, surf side, whatever the hell, drink bottle below it in, a much smaller area. So you're bringing it on yourself, Buccos. Have fun with, the Bucco bricks and all the backlash that you get for it. You deserve it. Let me actually pull up the lineup for tonight's game. Bucs are going to start game 3 of that series here in about half an hour. Yes, the lineup is here. Brian Hayes back in the leadoff spot, batting first and playing third base. Brian Reynolds designated hitting and batting second. Andrew McCutchen, how about that? They put him in the lineup playing in right field, because why the hell would you have your best hitter, Gasp, play back-to-back games in games 1 and 2 of this series when he produced for you the night before, had a phenomenal catch out in right field, all-time high vibes around that player in particular. Oh, and it was Jackie Robinson Day, and Kutch, as we all know, does the little helmet hat tip every time he hits a home run and crosses home plate. So, made all the sense to scratch him yesterday. O'Neal Cruz in the 4-hole, actually have him batting cleanup today. He's in center field again. Tommy Fantastic Pham in left field, batting 5th. Welcome back. Can't believe I'm actually happy to see you, so that hopefully I won't need to watch Emmanuel Valdez at this major league level for too much longer. Jared Triolo is back with the club. Was off with a back issue, I believe it was, for the past week or so, went down to AAA for a game last night, hit a home run. Now he's back up here playing second base tonight. The corresponding move for that, by the way, shortstop Sung Chae Cheng got sent down, back down to AAA. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa batting seventh, playing shortstop. Emmanuel Valdez in the 8 hole, much, much better than him batting in the 4th hole, still at first base, which, he is still rocky as all hell there. And catcher Henry Davis, again, only catcher on the roster right now who is healthy. I think you also have Abraham Gutierrez on the taxi squad. So hopefully Henry will be good again tonight behind the plate, and really we need him to be as our only catcher. Bailey Falter, rise up, Falter fellas. He is on the bump tonight. So again, that game going to start here in roughly half an hour. We'll have to wait and see how well things go there. See if they actually show up for the second game of the series. Actually, we got some breaking Bucco news here. Let me hit the graphic. So a minor trade here. This from Noah Hiles an hour ago, so just before I got started. The Pirates have acquired catcher Brett Sullivan from the San Diego Padres in exchange for outfielder Bryce Johnson and cash considerations. Minor trade there. Bryce Johnson was with the team throughout spring training. He's actually going back to the Padres. That is where he last played last year. So Bryce Johnson going back to San Diego, and the Bucs get, for the time being, a backup catcher for Henry Davis and Brett Sullivan, and then he'll go down to AAA and sort of be your Jason DeLay after DeLay departed for Atlanta earlier this season. Scrolling more here through Twitter just to see if there's any more news before I move on. Not seeing too much here, seeing pictures of Aaron Rodgers. How about this, actually? In fact, I'm going to save this here. I'm going to save this and talk about it here in a moment. Let's get to the final main segment of the day, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Steelers having their final pre-draft visit this afternoon. That final pre-draft visit, as reported, was Toledo defensive tackle Darius Alexander. That now makes 30 of 30 top 30 visits for the Steelers. 34 visits in total. Also had 4 locals from 3 Pitt Panthers and 1 West Virginian Mountaineer. Gonna hit on Alexander here for a minute. Like him as a prospect, he is my 5th overall defensive tackle in my prospect rankings for this year's draft, behind the big 4, of course, of Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, Derek Harmon, and Walter Nolan. So Alexander, 25 years old, from Fort Wayne, Indiana, 6'4", 310, massive 34-inch arms, 10-inch hands to go along with that. Ran a sub 540, a 4.95 40. Also did an impressive 28 reps on the bench last year at Toledo. 40 total tackles, 17 of those solo, 8 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, 4 pass defenses, and 1 interception. So Alexander having good production there to go along with his athleticism. Was a second team all MAC conference. Explosive off the ball, speed and power guy, powerful hands and leg drive, and violent swing move that makes blockers completely miss. Does have some tendencies to rush with a high pad level, making it easier for offensive linemen to move him around, and his first step off the snap is average at best, not really game-changing there. Player comps for him, Kawan Short and Travis Jones. Jones, defensive tackle for the division rival Baltimore Ravens. So, like that visit, again, Steelers, I believe they had, out of those combined 34 visits, 11 of them were with defensive tackles, 9 of them were with running backs, and then I think the next closest thing was like 3 quarterbacks for defensive backs and whatnot. So should be an interesting time here. Would not sleep on Darius Alexander being a pick. I think he becomes the Steelers pick if, say, I don't know, most of, say, like all 4 of those defensive tackle prospects, Graham, Harmon, Nolan, and Grant are gone. And, also you have some, the quarterback prospects are gone and whatnot. Alexander would be the Steelers pick if they trade back in the first round, which I am not counting out that possibility whatsoever. So, again, tomorrow, 1 week out officially from the draft, working on finishing up my draft board right now, prospect rankings, working on the corners right now. Darian Porter from Iowa State, massive riser up my draft boards. Got the defensive tackles and defensive ends, edge rushers all done. So getting giddy here, almost to the draft. Now, gonna switch over to this banner here. Just gonna hit on some other news segments that I have. We were talking about the draft just now. Actually, all the speculations about the Steelers liking Shedeur Sanders and, some of these big analysts saying that the Steelers should trade up for Sanders in the draft. Well, that could be a possibility with one particular team. That is the Carolina Panthers. They hold the number 8 pick, 1 pick before the New Orleans Saints at number 9. The Saints most likely going to take a quarterback right now with Derek Carr injured, whether it will be Sanders or Jackson Dart. So the Panthers, they are open for business, their general manager said. And if the Steelers really, really love Shedeur Sanders, then that could be their trade partner right there. It would be one hell of a package that would need to go back to Carolina for the Steelers to move up from 21 to number 8, but we'll see what happens. This just a moment ago here on 93.7 The Fan, Aditi Kinkamwala, NFL on CBS insider and sideline reporter. She's hearing from people, this from Andrew Filipponi, that Aaron Rodgers is more likely to retire than sign with a team that is not a Super Bowl contender. So that might be a reason why Rodgers is hesitant to sign, put pen to paper with the Steelers, and even if the New Orleans Saints have gotten a hold with him recently. Saints aren't anywhere close to competing for a Super Bowl. Steelers, depending on how you view them, how very optimistic you are about them, they're, middle of the road team. And that's why maybe Kinkamwala is saying that Rodgers is either going to retire or hope that a Super Bowl team like the Minnesota Vikings that he wants to go so badly to, waiting for them to calling. But, more and more as this goes on, especially now, the new deadline in everybody's mind is next week, because off-season voluntary workouts for the Steelers begin, and you also have the draft Thursday night. If Rodgers isn't a Steeler by then the already rapidly decreasing chances of Rodgers being a Steeler plummet that much further. Okay, so we hit on Rodgers there. We hit on the Panthers possibly being a trade target. for the Steelers. Again, another thing about Rodgers, Diana Rossini was on Colin Cowherd's show, The Herd, today. Wouldn't believe Colin Cowherd's sports takes as far as I can throw them. But Diana Rossini, who's been very, very vocal and in the know as much as anyone during this whole Aaron Rodgers saga, she says that the Steelers have no idea if Rodgers is going to sign. Her exact quote with, "The Steelers still want him, but I just think that Aaron knows he's got the leverage in the situation here, and he may just sit this thing out and wait. And what if there's another team?" So, yeah, Steelers have no idea if Rodgers is going to come. All that, speculation and belief from us Steelers fans that they had some sort of under the table handshake agreement. That is not the case whatsoever. Let's go here, sticking with the Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers writer for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, Jerry Dulac, had two interesting things to put in his most recent Q&A article on the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette website, starting with a question about the biggest event of the offseason coming up, the NFL Draft. He was asked if the Steelers really do like Sanders and will sell the farm to trade up for him, or if they will wait at 21 to see if he falls. Dulac simply answered, quote, "Not happening," unquote, leaving little to no context of what exactly that means and what exactly he is saying will not happen. Was it that Dulac said not going to happen, meaning that the Steelers won't be trading up? Is it no, the Steelers aren't going to take Sanders at all, even if he does fall to 21? Or is it no, that Dulac believes Sanders will be long gone before the Steelers can even, sniff him being available? Yeah, just maybe a little bit of all three there, but my guess is that he meant the third of those hypotheticals, saying that, Sanders is going to be long gone. He's going to go in the top 10, and the Steelers aren't even going to have a chance, nor the will, to trade up that far for him. The second interesting thing that Dulac said was that wide receiver George Pickens will not be getting traded anytime soon. When asked if the Steelers would consider flipping him for a second round pick in this year's draft. That's not any groundbreaking news, honestly. Everybody already thought that he was going to be here and that he wasn't going to get moved, but it's still noteworthy enough to confirm it again here. So Pickens going to be a Steeler to at least begin the 2025 season, because why would the Steelers trade for DK Metcalf, pay him a boatload of money, and then immediately flip George Pickens and be left pretty much in the same exact situation as last year, trying to get a wide receiver too? Again, that all could change depending on how the first round of the draft goes. Steelers did bring in one first round wide receiver in Matthew Golden from Texas. He's sort of like a George Pickens style of player, though he's, I think, a good bit smaller at, just around 6 feet compared to Pickens, who's 6'3". And also you got Jaden Higgins as well from Ohio State. He's like maybe a late day one, early day two wide receiver as well. But, Pickens not going to go anywhere unless the Steelers swing big and hit an absolute grand slam with a wide receiver early in the draft. Or, if we get a good bit into the season and the issues of Pickens pouting when he's not getting the ball, throwing temper tantrums, showing up late to games, not giving effort, see if all that continues into the season, then he could get dealt then. So hoping that things get better and that they do not stay the same or get worse, or else he will get traded. Time will tell. Okay, going to do one last scroll here through Twitter, see if we got anything going on. Again, thank you all for joining me here this evening, this Wednesday evening. Appreciate it very, very much. Be sure to stop by tomorrow night for another live stream like this. Going to be a shorter one around 5 o'clock. Going to be a very brisk one. And then also tune back in next Thursday for night 1 of the draft. We'll also be live for night 2, maybe day 3 that Saturday as well. Not seeing much else here. And yeah, I think that'll do it, ladies and gentlemen. Again, covered a lot of news here today. Kris Letang, T's and P's to him. Thoughts and prayers in his recovery from heart surgery. Hopefully the Bucs can not be completely and totally incompetent at playing baseball here tonight, and we inch closer to the draft with every passing moment. With that, going to call it a stream. Thank you very much for joining me. Appreciate it. Like, share, and comment on this stream. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you never miss an upload. Up to 364 subscribers. Thank you all very much who have subscribed in the recent days. Appreciate it very, very much. And with that, gonna call it a stream there. Thank you all. Have a good night. Peace. Love you all.